So in this video, we're going to talk about CSS, or cascading style sheets. And this is the way that we're going to add formatting to our document, different colors, different fonts, different italics, bold, those kinds of things. So HTML was never intended to contain tags for formatting. But in its early versions, there were some attribute tags that were added, like the B for bold, U for underline, I for italics, and some of the GUI interfaces would use those tags within the HTML, but that wasn't how HTML was built or was intended. So in later revisions of HTML, 4.0 or maybe later, and then in XHTML, which we're using, the way that we want to go about adding our formatting is through style sheets or cascading style sheets. The style sheets are basically just a grouping of instructions to control the appearance of the HTML. So all of the different elements on a web page. So for example, the body element, we could go through and add formatting to. We could go through and add formatting to all of the H1 elements, all of the P elements, and that's what we've got down here. So the P is paragraph. So basically what we're doing here is an inline rule, and this is not the best way to do it, but it's just an example. So this P, we're going to make the text color blue. And when we do that, the text for that shows up blue. When we close that P, when we close that paragraph, then it goes away. It's no longer blue. When we're looking at cascading style sheets, we'll get into looking at one in detail, but this is kind of what we're looking at here. So we have the HTML element. So an H1, an H2, a body, an A if we're doing the anchor tags, P if we're doing paragraph tags, LIs for list. So we can use all different kinds of elements over here or we can add formatting to all different kinds of elements. In cascading style sheets, we're going to refer to those as the selectors. Then each one of these selectors can have one or more declarations, and the declarations are just what we want them to be able to do. So the first thing we're going to have is the property. So color, in this case, it's referring to the text color. If we wanted it to have a specific background color, it would be background-color. We also have the font size. We're going to modify the font size or declare the font size. These are properties, and then what we want them to be will be the value. So color is the property, the value is blue. That's one declaration. The property font size with the value 12 pixels is a second declaration. All of our properties and values need to be separated by a colon, and our declarations need to be separated by a semicolon. And the last thing to know, the selector, after we declare the selector, we need these open curly brackets. We do our declarations and then a closed curly bracket. So this is one style rule. So we've got three different ways that we can declare style in the web page. We can do it inline. We can do it through internal style sheets, and we can do it through external style sheets. And probably the easiest way is just to to understand these is just to take a quick look at them. If you go to instruct.biz.uiowa.edu/courses/6K183, you'll see a Colbert folder. I have a folder in there. These examples are in that folder, so you're welcome to get in there and get the examples and look at them. So the first one we'll talk about is inline. So when we look at an inline style sheet, we have styling on the page. So we've got blue and we've got red. We've got this green border. We have an orange background. We got some pink text here. So we got several things going on. If you want to see what's happening behind the scenes, you can right-click the page and do View Page Source, and then you'll get to see the actual code going on behind the scene. So when we're looking at inline style sheets, all of the the style rules are added right after the tag, or right after the HTML element within the page. So here we've got the head, and we've got body, where everything's fine there. We get to div, our first div. So we have an inline style equals colon, open quote, color blue. So we're going to change all this text to blue. So everything in this div should have a text of blue. So paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. If we actually look at it, paragraph 1 and paragraph 3 are blue, but paragraph 2 is red. This is one div. All of this is in one div. So when we go back and look at more specifically what's happening, for this one paragraph tag, we've overridden the blue, and now we've turned the color red. So these style sheets are cascading. The more specific will override the more general. So the general was make the color blue up here in the div, but down here when we get into the specific, this one specific P, we can turn the color red, which is what happened here. As soon as we close up that P tag, the color goes right back to blue. Down here then for the second div, we've changed the background color to orange, and we've put a border. The border is 2 pixels wide. It's a solid border, and it's green. Notice here we've declared these 3 things. We don't have anything between them when we're looking at the values, and then we close it here with a semicolon. So doing that, we end up with the div. This is the div right here. It's got a border. It's 2 pixels. It's green. The background is orange. Cascading. So this is the general, and then we can override it with the specific. So here for this one particular paragraph, we set the background color to white, and we change the text color. So keep in mind, cascading, the more specific will override the more general. This is not a good way to set your style, to set your formatting. The problem with this is then if we decide that we don't like orange, we have to come in here and we have to specifically look for it, dig down through the programs. We have to make the changes in multiple locations, and if we forget one, then that causes us problems. So adding the code to the individual tag is possible. It's not the best idea from a management, just overall management of the page. So then again, next thing we could look at is internal. And with an internal, we have styling on this page. We've got red text and yellow backgrounds and all kinds of stuff going on. If we want to see what's happening behind the scenes, we can right-click it and view the source. And now what we see is we open the head tag, then we add our title in there. Then we have another tag called style. Type equals text CSS. As soon as we do that, then we can start to declare all of our style rules up here in the header of the page. So we are going to the body element, HTML element, we're going to add some styling. We're going to say the text color should be red, the background color should be yellow, the font size, the font family, and then we'll close it up. So down here, for the body tag, we're going to get the yellow background, the red text, all that kind of stuff, which we have here, which you can see. Then we're going to go down, and for one particular, or for the divs, so everywhere we have a div, we're going to make the color white. So every time we declare a div, so we have 2 divs here, they will be white. Our H1 elements, so the heading 1 elements, are going to be italics and bold. And if we look back here, they are. So here, the more specific is overriding the more general. We're telling normally, if just from the body, from the text in the body, it is not bold nor italics. But for the H1, it's going to be bold and italic. So we're overriding the general. Then we have the anchor tags. So we're declaring what to do with the hyperlinks. Remember, the A's are the hyperlinks. So we've got a few things going on here. We have the anchor tag in general, text decoration none. So normally when we have a link, a hyperlink, it's blue and there is a line under it. Here our hyperlinks are green, and there's no line under them. Text decoration none takes that line away. We also have link and visited. So remember, under normal HTML circumstances, the links are going to be blue, and after you visit them, then they turn kind of purple. We're saying that we want to override that default behavior. So for the link and for the visited, we want it to be green. So after you go off and visit this site and come back to it, it's not a different color. It's just always green. Hover and active. So hover is when we put the mouse over top of it, and active is when we click on it. So what we're saying here is when we hover over a link, we want it to underline, and we want the text to turn yellow, which it should. We also are declaring some CSS classes in here, which we'll get into in a little bit, and IDs. So when we get down here, then you can start to look. The H1 tag, it's referring to an ID. The divs referring to a class, and we'll get those here in a minute. But all of the P's, the paragraphs, the text color should be black, and the font size should be 10, which it is. Whenever we have an A tag or an anchor tag, then we want this set of behavior right here to take effect, which it's doing. And on the body, we don't have anything specific on the body, but we want it to have the yellow background and the red color and those kinds of things. So this is video 1 for CSS, where we're just kind of talking about some style rules, how we declare them, and we specifically looked at inline and internal. This is used, but it's still not the best way to do it. The best way to do this is using external style sheets, and we'll look at those in the next video.